real reason why I wanted you guys on this call, or the main reason, is to be part of this conversation. So this is I Want You to Be Wealthy, part number 2. Prince, did you get an opportunity to look at the video from last week? Did I send you
Yes,
that?
I did.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What was one takeaway that everybody had from last week? Hopefully you got something out of that. I'll start with that. I don't even really consider electricity, but wealth is simply a resource. It's protection and safety. It gives you options. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. Okay. We are all blessed, every single one of us on this call, to be able to physically go out and income, right? There are people that are not able to actively go out, be it a mental handicap, a physical handicap, whatever their story is, whatever the deal is. Every single one of us on this call, myself included, we all have the mental, physical, health wherewithal to go out and actively create income. So let's not squander the opportunity that we have in front of us. And every single one of us has that in front of us, right? All right. So this week I wanted to talk about offense and defense. And I like to think of this because I think about this as a game. It just helps me kind of mentally manage it. But defense is controlling our spending, right? And offense is earning income, right? And really, if we think about it, if you think about wealth, you think about investing, the amount that you're able to invest is really the delta, the difference between your offense and your defense. So what can I earn? What can I control my expenses or my burn rate at? And then whatever that difference is the money that I can then go apply to create financial independence for myself, to create wealth for myself and my family. Okay. And that's really the game. It's our outgo, it's our income. That delta is our seed capital that we can go create wealth with, right? So first, let's talk about defense, okay? And I don't want to spend a terrible amount of time on this because I think there's more upside opportunity in growing our income than there is in reducing our expenses. But we do have to trim the fat, and we've got to control our burn rate. Okay. So this is like the not fun conversation. So here's the deal, guys. There's only so much that you can cut, right? So whatever your income is, $130,000, $60,000, $20,000 a year, like whatever your number is, there's only so much of that we can cut. Like we can only go to zero. And oh, by the way, I think even in the Philippines, Prince, tell me if it's different, like it costs money to live, right? Like we can only drink so much water and eat so many prayer sandwiches before we get a little hungry and we actually have to go get some food, right? So there's only so much opportunity for us to be able to trim. So once again, I want to spend more time about growing the income, but we do got to spend a little bit of time about trimming the fat. So I would submit to you guys, we've got to trim the fat. My goal for myself, my goal for you guys is not to live this minimalist life where you just basically scrape by life living on as little as possible. Like that is one way to do it, right? Of just like, I'm going to live this super meager, like, unfulfilling life of like, I never go get Starbucks. I never eat out. Like I only eat beans and rice. And like, I keep my expenses at $4 a month. I don't think anybody on this call really wants that existence. Whatever, it's your decision to make. I don't think anybody wants it. I wouldn't want it for you. So I personally want to live a big life. I want you guys to be able to live as big of a life as you want, but we do got to control it. All right, so trimming the fat. So can you guys give me some ideas how you personally can, when I say trim the fat, what is the first 2-3 thoughts that come to your mind as far as things that you can trim out of your life to, once again, not so we can live this minimalist life, but that so we can create some delta between our income and our outgo and be able to invest that money. I'm going to start with Abigail.
For me, I don't really have that many bills, but I guess something that I could necessarily wean myself off of is eating out less, going to the grocery store more for lunches. I've started doing that more. And I think that I should make that my standard. Is just keeping stuff here instead of going out. And then little stuff like subscriptions to like watching services. Like, I don't know if I could ever part with Netflix, but I could probably part with Hulu if Corey pays for Hulu.
Yep. Graham, what you got, Bo?
Yeah, same thing kind of with the eating out situation. I think, I took a look at this. I started that 75 hard program where it's like 75 days, no, fast food, and you have to work out multiple times a day and there's no drinking. I started that because I looked at how much I spent, in December, and, regardless outside of the Christmas gifts and stuff, like I realized, oh, wow, my social life with, drinking, one night and going out on the weekends and, eating out, for dinner almost every night, that really added up a lot. So I think those were the two really big things, especially just, the social life aspect and eating out. I think it's just cuts my stuff in half, basically. So that's a lot of fat to trim.
Irene?
Abigail and Graham kind of took both of mine of what I was thinking. And eating out for like a family, it does add up. So one thing that Matt and I have kind of tried to start doing is do like a reset on Sundays where, we go through what we have already in the pantry, what can work for meals for the family for the week, and, what we need to go pick up from the grocery store. So we restart on Sundays. That way we're not like, hey, you're on the way home, can you stop by and, pick up a pizza, or, I didn't get to go run to the grocery store, let's just go out to eat, once you get home or something. So I think that's one of the biggest ones for us as a family of 4 is trimming that fat, especially since the boys eat like grown men, is the biggest one for us. And then the subscriptions, like Abigail said, kind of just trimming that back to, what we actually really use, and, all the extras, kind of try and cut those out.
Yeah.
Prince, what you got?
Yeah, well, it's just most likely the same thing, but here in the Philippines, it's more fan of online shopping. I think you also have like Amazon or eBay. We also have that here in the Philippines, but a different version. So I think I have to stop, always browsing on the kind of online shopping. Going to Starbucks every week, I think I have to limit that because it's a little bit expensive. And what else? Also, yeah, cancel subscription on Spotify because I think we can also change that to free version of it, or just listen to YouTube, or just a free version of Spotify.
Beautiful, beautiful. All of those excellent ideas. And once again, guys, the goal is not to like just go through life existing, but if we've got this big, hairy, sexy, audacious goal, you've got your dream board, which Prince, we got to get yours set up. But if you've got this vision of, hey, this is where I'm going, then the sacrifice doesn't hurt as much because you've got a vision of, hey, this is where I'm going. I am cutting this thing because I'm going here. The Olympic athlete, while it sucks waking up at 4:30 in the morning and jumping in a cold pool, they're doing it because his name's Michael Phelps and he's going to win the gold in China or wherever the thing is. So very, very important, not even in my notes, but you've got to have a vision of this is where I'm actually going. And that way it reminds you of this is why I'm making this sacrifice. And have a picture of the family up here. Have a picture of whatever you want to do, wherever you're doing it for. We're doing it for them. We're not doing it just to do it and be meager. All right. So a couple things I had. Eating out. Eating out is 3 to 4 times more expensive than it would be to cook the same meal at the house. So I'm not telling you never to go eat out. I enjoy a nice night out, taking my wife out on a date, but realize being underplanned or poorly planned, and we've been there too, but that's going to cost you 3 to 4 more times what that meal could have cost you just making it yourself. I would highly encourage everybody to meal prep, right? Super simple. We eat breakfast at home. We eat lunch during the week. It's easy to meal prep, and then eat dinner at the house, right? Meal prep, very simple. I get 6 chicken breasts, like you get the little pack or chicken thighs, roast that up for 45 minutes with some vegetables. You can do the whole thing. It takes me like an hour on Sunday once a week. Put it in a little Tupperware, bring it to the office. I'm not wasting time driving to wherever and losing that 15, 30 minutes. I'm saving money and I'm eating a healthier meal because I'm making the decision ahead of time. This is what I'm going to eat. And it just saves that time, saves the calories, saves the money. Starbucks. I'm not a Starbucks person. Like, I understand everybody likes their Starbucks. Once again, you can make a cup of coffee for literally 50 cents. We've got free coffee at the office. You're going to go pay $5 for a cup of coffee, right? Enjoy it once every now and again, but doing it multiple times a week or every day, my opinion, is craziness. Clothes, you know, I think everybody knows, like, you can only wear one outfit a day. We wear pretty much the same thing every day. These are multi-billion-dollar companies that are advertising to you, that are selling you on buying shit that you don't need. And you best believe they're pretty good at it, right? So that's like what we're up against, and that's the forces that we're up against. Cars you can't afford, finance cars. If you guys finance a car, I will make fun of you, okay? Especially for a car that you don't need. So just realize, if we finance a car, especially Abigail, Grant, Mustafa, I will make fun of you. Being house poor, so buying more house than we can afford, right? I don't think that's anybody's problem here, but buying more house than you can afford. Luxury goods, I think it's dumb, personal opinion. Basically, stop buying dumb shit that you don't need, right? And once again, if you don't have a vision, then the handbag, the whatever, it's just a fun thing to do. But if you have a vision of where you're going, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, we got to cut the bullshit out, essentially. We got to trim the fat. Streaming services, I'm with you guys. Like, you know, I like my Netflix too. We probably don't need 7 of them, you know, because we probably shouldn't be wasting that much time watching TV and watching stupid shit. Anyway, have a little entertainment in your life, but like, it doesn't need to be the main focus. Going out, I put that, Grant, I'm totally with you. Like, it's expensive. It adds up quick. And then Amazon online shopping. There's a reason Jeff Bezos is one of like the top 3 richest men in the world, right? Or richest people in the world. Multi-billion-dollar companies that they know how to market. They know how to get you to click. It's very easy to do. I've been guilty of it as well. All right, so we've got to control our burn rate, right? We got to trim the fat, but we also have to control our burn rate. So as your income grows, which it is my goal for every single one of you guys to have your income grow, right? As your income grows, you've got to continue to control your burn rate. So not to say that you can't increase your lifestyle, but you've got to keep control that it doesn't get out of hand. And really the magic of the budget is that you're deciding ahead of time what I'm going to spend for the month, right? I'm not just willy-nilly, I'm not haphazard. I'm deciding ahead of time what expenses I'm going to incur, where I'm going to spend money. And oh, by the way, you can budget a going out budget. Like, hey, we're going to spend $200 a month eating out, having a good time as a family, going out to the bars, like whatever your deal is, just have a plan for it, right? Don't be willy-nilly about it. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Just, hey, this is the amount I'm going to spend. Anything up to that, I'm not going to feel guilty. Anything over that, we've got a problem, right? And one little pro tip for Irene, nobody else is married. My wife and I, in our budget, we each get $50 a month of like fun money, where it's unjustifiable expense. So as long as it's legal, moral, ethical, like my wife can spend her $50 on whatever she wants, buying more shit at Home Goods that we don't need. I can go to the golf range and like do whatever, or, you know, buy a pair of shoes or whatever. So it's just creating a little bit of that margin. And Abigail, Grant, Mustafa, Prince, you guys can do that for yourselves. Of, hey, I'm going to have $100 of just like stupid shit money where I can just spend it on whatever I want, but I'm not going to go over that, right? I'm going to be an adult. I'm going to make a decision ahead of time. This is what I'm going to spend. I'm not going to spend any more of that. Anything under that, I'm not going to feel guilty about. I can just blow it on whatever, right? Controlling your burn rate. You cannot out-earn uncontrolled spending. I'll say it again. You cannot out-earn uncontrolled spending. And if you don't believe me, look at all of the NFL players, all of the Major League ball players that literally go broke, Fortune 500 CEOs that go broke, very rich people that end up going broke, because even though they were able to earn a crazy amount, they literally spent every nickel that they had. and they are simply broker at a high level, right? I promise you guys, if you have not met wealthy people, or I shouldn't say wealthy, if you have not met yet people that make a lot of money and spend it, I promise you those people exist more than you think, right? Living in Wyndham, like belonging to the Dominion Country Club, like I'm getting around a lot more fancy people. And I promise you, a lot of those fancy people, they make a lot of money, they spend it, they have a nice lifestyle, but if they have any hiccups, any roadblocks, any flat tires, they are fucked financially because they're just broke at a higher level. And they're paycheck to paycheck. And when you get in these private conversations with them, you can tell that they literally, like, their expenses are here and their head is here and the noose is pretty tight around their neck. And I don't want that for anybody. I want you guys to make a shit ton of money, but I want you to have a huge margin between what you make and what your life costs you. Because that's where financial freedom comes. That's where peace comes. That's where security comes from. Okay. There's also a lot of real estate agents out there that I'm not going to share their names, but I've been in conversations with them or somebody that knows them where they're putting up good numbers. They're driving the fancy cars. They look good on social. You know, they're wearing the nice clothes. They got the nice watch. They're doing, you know, they're going on nice vacations, and they're fucking broke. They have nothing set aside. They are in a bad spot financially if anything were to go wrong. And that's the problem with having no margin between your income and your outgo, is if anything does not go according to plan, you are FUCKED fucked. And that's not a position that I want anybody to be in. Okay. Do you guys have time to go into the actual positive part of this of offense? I know I'm about to run over, so I want to respect everybody's time. Abigail, would you rather do this conversation or your private coaching session?
This is fine with me.
Grant, you good? Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that was like the down in the dumps defense. Not a fun conversation ever. Okay. Let's talk about offense. We're finally getting to the sexy side of this multi-part conversation. All right. So offense, once again, is growing our income. I want every single one of you, Abigail, Grant, Irene, Prince, Mustafa, to grow your income, right? Let's get on offense. So for Abigail and Prince, can you guys come up with any ideas on how we can grow our income? Just rattle off 2 or 3 to me. I've got some, but I want somebody.
For me, the biggest.
Irene and Prince. I'll get to you. I promise.
I think for me, it's definitely referrals, trying to get us some buyers, sellers, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to get better at posting on socials. So anytime Grant and Abigail, Mustafa, when he does post anything like having open houses, or they're getting listings, like getting taker ready, I'm trying to put it out there. So trying to get some kind of referral revenue going.
Cool. Prince, what you got, my friend?
Is this regarding about the real estate world or about the life?
Just in general, what are some thoughts you have as far as how you can grow your income?
Well, I think you have to make sure to increase the money flow that you have. Same thing with you save a lot instead of lower your expenses.
Gotcha. Okay. So I wrote down 2 things. For Irene, referrals. 25% referral fee for anything that you can bring into the business. Specifically, can you think of any ways that you can generate referrals? And Grant, Abigail, Mustafa, this applies to you guys as well, but Irene, what are some ways that we can get more referrals tactically?
Other than like just posting the social and stuff?
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll give some to you. So social media, you're doing a bang up job of that, of, hey, any opportunity that I have to post about what I'm doing, what the team is doing on my social, reminding people that I'm in the business. I'm not being a secret agent, or for you, a secret admin. Social media, letting everybody know in your sphere that you're in the business. If they want to work with somebody they already know, like, and trust, that you're available for them. Wearing the swag. So everybody on this call, Prince, we got yours coming to you. has the ERET hat. So simply wearing that around, somebody sees it, hey, what's that? It opens the dialogue, the conversation to be able to have with them, right? So we all have that. And I can get you guys all a koozie as well. Once again, you can either, just walk around with it or have it at the house. Just generate more conversations about real estate. Chatting with friends and family. Networking of, hey, I'm just going to I hear somebody, Abigail, you brought this up. I'm at the restaurant. I hear somebody in the next booth talking about real estate. Simply walking over, hey guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt your conversation. I know it's super random. I just wanted to hand you a card. My name's Abigail. I'm a local real estate agent. If I can ever do anything for you, I would love to help. There's a guy named Quintavious Burdett, right? You guys can all just look up Q Burdett, because Quintavious, who knows how to spell that? He's out of Mississippi, country boy, played at Ole Miss. Dude is an absolute beast. Closed in his first year 100 homes by himself. No assistant, no team, no nothing. 100 homes by himself, right? I think the next year he closed 200 and he had like a part-time assistant. Literally what Q would do is he would go to the grocery store and he would offer to bag people's groceries and walk them out like he was like the kid working in the grocery store. And then he would literally hand the business card. Hey guys, I actually don't work at the grocery store. My name's Q. I'm a local real estate agent. I would love to be of service if I can. He would literally go to restaurants handing out business cards, and they would he's like, I've been kicked out of Applebee's more times than I've actually sat there and ate, because literally all he did was he passed around business cards. Like we complicate this business. Like that's literally all it is having more conversations. Adding your sphere of influence and people to the database, i.e. the mailing list, and also Sierra. So ongoing continual basis, just add. All I do all day long is I add. And that thing just continues to grow. They're getting the emails, they're getting the mailing pieces, your face is on them, or we can put your face on them, and we just continue to grow this thing. And that applies to you guys, Grant, Abigail, Mustafa. We're just going to continue to add to it. Okay. Specifically for Irene and Prince, the other area of opportunity for you guys, and I would submit to you that this is an area that is a huge benefit to you, is growing your skill base, right? The biggest thing between you and earning $100,000 a year is not me paying you more. It's you being the type of person that can command a $100,000 a year salary, or whatever your number is, whatever your goal is. So growing your skill set, which in turn will grow your income, to where I literally, for me to retain you as an employee, I have to pay you or create an opportunity that justifies what you're worth. Otherwise, you're going to move on to a bigger, better opportunity, right? And the tricky thing, the fun thing as a leader, is I literally have to keep growing my world so that your world can expand within it. Otherwise, I lose you, right? It's kind of like a fun dynamic. But podcast, audiobooks, Illume, Udemy, YouTube, these are all areas where you can grow yourself mentally from transaction coordinator to director of operations to, COO, chief operating officer, or whatever, like wherever you want to go, is just continue to grow your skill base. So that way your ability to earn more money keeps going up. And honestly, that is a better investment, in my opinion, than like the S&P 500 is the S&P 500. So continuing to grow that skill base. For Prince, right now we're a virtual assistant, but can we become the type of person that can not only be a virtual assistant, but can lead the virtual assistant team? Or, hey, maybe I am the chief virtual assistant for the real estate team, and I'm able to command double, triple my salary, because not only do I know how to do the job, but I then know how to build the systems for other VAs to execute. And then one skill set above that is I know how to lead other virtual assistants and learn how to succeed through them. So do you guys see, or if Irene, we're a transaction coordinator now, but then eventually we graduate to director of operations, where I'm able to build out the system that other transaction coordinators execute. And then I'm going to go to one level above that as I'm going to learn leadership. And now I am leading a team of of transaction coordinators, where I'm succeeding now through these other transaction coordinators. you guys see how you keep like going up the ladder here?
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, this is going to take you the expensive time. Like, it's going to take you reading the right books, listening to the right podcast, watching the right videos. We've probably got to spend a little less time in entertainment and a little bit more time in education, which once again is a sacrifice. But if we've got that big, sexy, hairy, audacious goal of where we're trying to get and what we're trying to do, it's worth the sacrifice. Okay. Any questions on that before I jump into Abigail, Grant, and Mustafa's portion?
I actually did have a question. You're mentioning about like business cards. Is that something that I could possibly get for me that I like if I'm out at like the boys' baseball games or basketball games that I can go ahead and pass that out?
Shoot me a Google chat.
All right.
Shoot me a Google chat. Prince, I would love for you to be able to generate referrals. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody in your neighborhood is going to be buying or selling in Richmond, Virginia. If you happen to meet anybody, I'd be happy to send you a 25% referral fee. All right, Abigail, Grant, let's chat over to agents. How can you guys grow your income?
We got referrals as well. Never mind.
Grant, take it, bud.
We got referrals as well. So we know people out of town, looking to purchase. We can connect them with those agents and collect a referral fee as well. First one that kind of comes to mind. Other than just prospecting more business, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the biggest thing that I want for myself is like passive income, and it's definitely not in my cards right now to buy an investment property for that. So it's just like coming up with ideas on how to make that happen for myself in the moment, and then growing onto that, and eventually purchasing my own home and an investment property down the road.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So passive income is great. And we're going to talk about that on the next call. To be able to create passive income, once again, we have to grow our income, maintain our expenses, and create that delta, because that delta is the money that we can slide over to the side that we no longer need to live on. And that money can then start to grow and build. And eventually, if we grow that pile big enough, it can then take care of our personal expenses. And then we don't need to go actively be the hamster on the wheel. Right. So for Grant, Abigail, Mustafa, and really for Irene and Prince, like, we don't need to go out and do a million different things. Like, I would submit to you guys, I don't think you need to go out and get a side hustle and do like 17 different things. I think if you focused on one thing and just grew your income in that, I'm not telling you to not have other things, but if we have diluted focus, we're going to be shitty at a lot of things versus just getting super good at one vertical. So for our agents, more activities is really all it boils down to. So actually making the calls when we're supposed to make the calls, right? Open houses, social posts, doing more videos, continuing to add to the database, both in Sierra and also in the mailing list. Networking, we already talked about. Like, literally, you just meet somebody. I'm in the grocery store. I'm waiting to check out at the kiosk, and I'm just gonna chat it up with the guy or the gal in front of me, right? Also, a very good opportunity to potentially meet somebody. Grant, at the grocery store, just chatting up the person in front of me. Network, swag, networking. I literally joined a country club just so I can get around fancy people that have a lot of money that want to buy bigger houses. Like, granted, I enjoy it, but like, that's literally the whole game, was just a network, and it's working out. Swag, cold calls, door knocks, CMAs, out of area referrals, building out our social profiles in a Loom. So I was looking through a Loom, and I want to say some of you guys don't even have a profile built out in a Loom. So if somebody was in the Tom Ferry network and wanted to give a referral in Richmond, Virginia, I promise you don't want to be the face that has no face. So like, go in there, build out your profile, build out your, put your headshot in there, put yourself out there, right? So Grant, Abigail, Mustafa, like, you guys are already in a very lucrative business. You have a lot of opportunity to grow your income very simply by just selling more houses. The other side of this is increasing your skills, increasing your mindset so that not only are we taking more activities, doing more activities, but we're more effective when it comes to those activities that we're executing. So I shared this example with Abigail this morning. I look at setting appointments, either buyer or selling, buyer appointments or seller appointments, as literally chopping down a tree. So there's really two factors that it takes to there's two factors in chopping down a tree, in my opinion. So it's literally how many times you're willing to whack that fucking tree with an axe, right? So that's literally just the amount of activities, the volume of activity that you're willing to do. If we take one agent over here and they are making 20 phone calls a day, and I am willing to make 100 phone calls a day, and we have the same skill set, I'm going to get 5 times the results of that. If I'm half as good as them, I'm still going to outproduce them simply because I'm willing to take more at bats. I'm willing to, go out there and do more activities. Okay. The other side of that equation, though, is how sharp is your axe? And when I say how sharp is your axe, is how good are your skills? How good are you at having the conversation, overcoming the objections, setting the appointments, converting the appointments? Like, how good are we at our conversion skills? And if anybody wants to work on their conversion skills, I'm happy to help you do that, right? So once again, how many times do you want to whack the tree? How many attempts are you willing to make? How sharp is your axe? How good are your skills, so that when you do take that slice of that tree, how much of that tree are we getting off, and how effective are we in those phone calls, right? And here's where it really gets powerful. If you are somebody that is willing to go out there and take massive action, and you are a fucking assassin in your conversion, that's where you get massive results. And that's where you're unstoppable, because you're willing to outwork everybody and you're out skilling everybody as well, right? And you marry those two, and that's when your business blows up. Okay. So how do we do that? We role play, we practice. So I role play with each of you guys 1 day a week. I would submit to you that role playing 1 day a week is probably not going to be enough to get you to ninja level. So very simply, you can go into the Tom Ferry Network if you need me to help you with this, or you can go into one of the 100 Facebook groups out there for real estate agents and say, I'm looking for somebody to role play with. I would recommend you get 5 role play partners, right? You want to hear 5 different people. You want to have 5 different people that you can talk to. Practice your scripts, role play the objections. Hey, I got my ass handed to me on this phone call yesterday, and they hit me with this. I have no clue how to do it. Number one, I'm going to think through some solutions of how I can overcome that objection the next time I get it, but I'm also going to role play that conversation with somebody on the phone. I would love to be able to role play with you guys every day, 5 days a week. I'm one human being with 24 hours in a day with other obligations, right? But go out there and find 4 other people that you can role play these conversations with so you can get better. Another way you can do it, you can do podcasts, you can do audiobooks, you can do physical books. The trick with the physical book is like the magic is in between the cover and the back, right? Like if we never actually open the book and flip through it and read it, you don't get the magic out of the book. And oh, by the way, you got to read it and then you actually have to go take action. Because if all you're doing is reading books and you're never changing what you're doing, you're not going to get the magic out of the book, right? Loom. Guys, we are tied into the #1 real estate coach in the industry. And you guys have access to all of the training, literally to access the library of information that you guys currently have would cost you $12,000 per year. And Irene, Prince, you guys have access to that as well. So if you say, hey, I want to become a better real estate administrator, if I want to get better at real estate operations, if I want to know, hey, as a virtual assistant, this is how I can really kick ass and take names, all of those resources are in a loop. Like there is a ton of content that you guys can improve yourselves with, okay? Literally, the coaching that I'm paying for, guys, it runs me $36,000 a year. And it's an expense I am more than willing to pay. Like I'm happy to pay it, but I would highly encourage you guys to leverage what we're paying for, right? Because it's gold. Mustafa, Abigail, Grant, every single phone call that you guys take with Doug cost me $250. Once again, I'm happy to invest the money. I'm happy to pay for it. The return is there, but like I've seen some of the calls. If you guys show up late to the call, if we show up unprepared, if we show up not engaged, if we show up without questions to ask, I lovingly want to punch you in the throat, right? Because every single minute of those phone calls cost me $8.33. So I would just think through that, please, when we're on those calls. Like, Doug has had a lot of experience in the industry. He's managed a bunch of people. He talks to a lot of high-level team leaders. Like, leverage what you have in front of you, right? And I'll end with this. Obviously, this is an hour and a half long, probably a half hour too long conversation. If you guys really want to dial in your finance, I've got a couple book recommendations. Dave Ramsey, The Total Money Makeover. That's a very good one, very good read. The Simple Path to Wealth by, I forget who wrote that book. That's a very simple, executable plan that I'm going to kind of chat through as far as like what to do with the money you're investing. The Psychology of Money is a really good one. Rich Dad Poor Dad is another really good one. So I hope you guys found some value out of this. I'm sorry that we ran long. Next week, we're going to talk about, so we've got our outgo controlled, we're growing our income. What do we do with the delta? And we go into actual wealth building, which is what do we do with the investable money once we have it? Any questions, thoughts, fears, concerns, anything else I can do for anybody before I sign off? Did you guys get any value out of this?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Awesome. Thank you all. Have a good week. Holler if you need me.